Hello, everyone. Welcome to assignment number 4. In this assignment, you're going to conduct a recorded mock media interview, and it's worth 15% of your mark. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to video record yourself doing this interview, and it'll be based on the scenario provided on the next slide. Ask a family member or a friend to play the role of the reporter and to record you on either their mobile device or via Zoom, answering the questions listed on slide 5. So they will ask you the questions that you'll find on slide 5, and you're going to answer them. And you're going to answer them based on getting across 3 key messages, and you are going to submit those 3 key messages in writing as well as the recording of the interview. So it's okay if you relay information in your answers that's in addition to the key messages, but remember your main goal in the interview is to make sure that you get those 3 key messages across. Okay. When you send in the recording as well, if you're recording it via Zoom, obviously that's easy, just upload it. If you're recording it on a mobile device, you can save it as an MP4, and that can be submitted as well. So here's the scenario that you're going to pretend that you are in for this interview. You are the spokesperson for a large organization that helps low-income people manage their finances and find suitable housing. Most of your clients live in inner city neighborhoods, and many are new Canadians. Your company has just announced a major initiative to increase hiring from underrepresented groups, including Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and people living with disabilities. Under this initiative, people who self-identify in those groups during the application process will be guaranteed an interview, and qualified candidates will be prioritized. The reason that your company has undertaken this initiative is because of its dismal previous record in hiring from these groups. In fact, more than 75% of your 200 employees are able-bodied people who do not identify as either Black, Indigenous, or people of color, despite the fact that 60% of your clients are from those groups. So that's created difficulties in both your relationship with clients and your understanding of their needs. And it's also attracted negative media coverage during the past year, and there's even been protests outside your head office. The goal of the new hiring initiative that you're announcing is to change the composition of your workforce so that it aligns with the demographics of your client base within 5 years. While many applaud this initiative as a positive and courageous step to address systemic racism and discrimination, there are some who accuse you of reverse racism. Many of your employees are also upset and worried about how this will affect their jobs. And just note that in this scenario, no employees will be fired or laid off. The change will happen through attrition, which means when they retire or leave the jobs, then you will refill their positions. So in the interview, you are doing the interview for the most watched TV news broadcast in your city about this initiative. So that's the assumption here. And remember, you've developed 3 key messages that you want to get across during the course of the interview. And in this case, you have the luxury of knowing the questions that the reporter is going to ask in advance. And I have to note that this usually doesn't happen, although we can often guess what the questions are going to be. And we should always anticipate those questions when we're preparing for interviews in the real world. So the questions that you're going to be asked by your reporter, friend, or family member are: number 1, please describe your new hiring initiative. Number 2, why did your company decide to do this? Number 3, what do you say to people who have described this as reverse racism? Number 4, how do your current employees feel about this? And number 5, is there anything else you'd like to add? So remember, you got to take this opportunity to get across those key messages. And you also don't want to sound like you're reading anything, right? You wouldn't be reading anything in a TV interview. You need to set your notes aside. You probably will have prepared using notes. You need to be looking at the camera. You can't be reading anything and you can't sound like you're reading anything. That's really important. The written assignment and the rubrics can be found on Nexus. Good luck with this.